with so much breathtaking nature, in addition to also being pretty darn cheap with no state income tax and a median home value of just 264 grand, it's no surprise that 46% of new residents said their primary reason for moving here was for the lifestyle, to retire, or for a lower cost of living.
And the natural beauty. Oh man, so far this may be the best place. Oh, I would love to move to South Dakota. Looks tremendous. What's up, my friend? Today I'll be reacting to top 10 states everyone is moving in. This should be a fascinating one. But before I go into that, can I ask you for one thing? If you can leave a like on this one, thank you so much. It's the best way to show support. If you can subscribe, well, in that case, forget about it. You make my day. Have that in consideration. Now, link for the original video in my description. You guys end up recommending this one quite a lot, so let's play it.
Are you looking for a place to plant new roots? Or maybe this is the year you finally decide to uproot yourself and move to a new state. Either way, you'd be in the minority, as most Americans actually want to stay put. Yeah, while the pandemic inspired a mass exodus from big cities to smaller cities and towns in 2020, things really slowed down in 2021 with the least amount of people changing residences in nearly 75 years. But who cares about that? Because it's 2022 now, which means new year, new move. And if you're like this cow who wants to move but has no idea where to start, well, there's got to be a reason everyone's moving to the states on this list. True. So let's move on to the 10 states that everyone is moving to in 2022. And let's hit 5,000 likes if you want to see a video on the states that Americans are leaving in 2022. Number 10. Rhode Island. Rhode Island may be the smallest state by total area, but most of that land must be pretty desirable, as it also has—
Oh, Rhode Island. This looks an amazing, amazing place. And I'm just looking at one photo, I know, but oh wow. Honestly, this is a state that I don't know a lot about, and I want to study Rhode Island a bit more. But oh yeah, looks beautiful.
It's the second highest population density. Now, this one literally came out of nowhere, as people had been fleeing the ocean state for years, and most of the states that people moved to in 2021 were among the least densely populated. But with beautiful beaches, no crime, and tons of charming historic towns, Rhode Island's pretty underrated, especially since the economy is booming. The median household income grew by 8.7% just this past year to $71,200. So it makes sense that 36% of newcomers moved here for a job. And over half of newcomers are also making more than 150 grand a year. So while the median home value of 398 grand isn't exactly cheap, it's likely not an issue for them. Plus, it's still a heck of a lot cheaper than neighboring Massachusetts, where the vast majority of new residents moved from. But even though 59.1% of total moves here in 2021 were inbound migration, the population of nearly 1.1 million actually decreased by 0.2% due to natural decrease, aka when the total number of deaths is greater than the amount of new births.
Honestly, Rhode Island, I mean, like I said, I don't know a lot about the state. Actually, I would love to know if anyone watching is from Rhode Island. But that said, looks tremendous and seems like a beautiful place.
Number 9. Idaho.
What? But you keep telling us Idaho's the fastest growing state. How come it's only number 9?
Wow.
Okay, one second. Idaho is another state that I don't know a lot about, which is a bit embarrassing. But on the other hand, I'm watching this video because I also want to learn. 1.9 million, so a bit more than, actually almost double than Rhode Island. Rhode Island was 1 million, right? Yeah, let's see it.
Well, you see, it is the fastest growing state with an estimated population increase of 3.4% just this past year. But since most of the people moving in are coming from states with much higher incomes like California and Washington, the cost of living has also skyrocketed to the point where it's just no longer affordable for locals. Now, sure, the economy is growing fast too, with 7.8% wage growth last year. But it's not growing near fast enough, as the median household income is still only 61 grand, while the median home cost ballooned by 34% over the past 12 months to 452 grand. So while the sheer amount of new residents might make you think Idaho would be higher on the list, just 60.4% of total moves in the gem state last year were inbound migration, as many locals were also forced to leave. But can you really blame people who can afford it for wanting to live here? Boise's pretty much the definition of a perfect city. There is so much beautiful untouched nature, and it's the third safest state.
Oh wow, well again, a lot of amazing things going for Idaho. I mean, that name is difficult for me. Idaho, right? But I like it also.
Number 8, Oregon. Idaho's coastal neighbor just...
Oregon, 4 million people. Wow, that's impressive. But Oregon is a state that I know a bit more, okay? I've been reacting to a lot of American stuff, as you are aware, and Oregon tends to appear a lot specific when it comes to natural beauty. I think is one of the most beautiful places in the world, not just in America, in the world.
Barely eked out a higher spot on this list, with 60.5% of total moves in the state being inbound migration. But while almost no one moved to Idaho for jobs, 44% of new Oregon residents said their primary reason for moving was for a job, which is understandable considering the thriving economy in the Silicon Forest, aka the Portland, Beaverton, Hillsborough area, where the median household income is a whopping $78,500. And while the media likes to paint the place as if it's an Antifa war zone, if you avoid downtown, Portland is still as artsy as ever, with so much character and literally the best food and beer in the country. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if people moved there solely for the food. It's
me neither. I mean, that's a big thing.
That good. And no matter where in Oregon you move to, you'll be surrounded by stunning scenery. From the Rogue River Valley to the volcanoes in Crater Lake to the Painted Hills, magically rugged coastline, and so many waterfalls, the Beaver State is one of the most geographically diverse. Sure, it's...
My friends, I don't have words to describe Oregon. Oregon is crazy, crazy beautiful. It's one of my favorite places in America when it comes to natural beauty, for sure.
Also gotten expensive, with a median home cost of 486 grand. But compared to California or Washington, where over half of the newcomers are moving from, it's actually pretty affordable. Number 7, Tennessee. With a violent crime rate 506% above the national average, Memphis just surpassed St. Louis for the title of most dangerous city in America.
And people are moving there. Okay, the economy should be really good. Or so, I don't know. What? Okay, did I understood that correct?
Surpassed St. Louis for the title of most dangerous city in America. And Tennessee overall is the third most dangerous state. Heck, even Nashville, the one actual good place to live here with a great economy, has a violent crime rate 200% above the national average. But that hasn't stopped people from moving here in droves, as 62% of total moves in the state last year were inbound ones, resulting in an overall population growth of 0.9%. Then again, considering that nearly 40% of newcomers said they moved here for the lifestyle or to retire, maybe they're all just adrenaline junkies who love the feeling of danger, because the state is also smack dab in the middle of the new Tornado Alley. Or maybe...
Okay, I have nothing against the state, but the way this guy is presenting, I don't get why people is moving there. Wow. Okay.
Because the state is also smack dab in the middle of the new Tornado Alley. Or maybe they just like the Great Smoky Mountains. Yeah, that one probably makes more sense since most of the people...
Okay, the Great Smoky Mountains, I reacted to them in other videos. Oh, and this is also so beautiful. So, see, again, natural beauty is something that America does not miss, right? It's crazy, crazy, crazy.
People moving here are coming from Florida or Texas, which are both pretty flat. And while the median home cost of $264,000 may seem somewhat affordable compared to most of the country, it's also going up fast, while the median household income is still just 56 grand, with very little economic opportunity outside of Nashville. But hey, at least there's no state income tax. Number 6, Alabama. Alabama consistently...
Oh, Alabama surprises me, but to be honest, should not. if I remember the last one, because I believe Alabama also have a lot of problems when it comes to crime. I'm saying this because I saw some stats in other video, but people are really moving to Alabama. Okay, I think it's a beautiful state. Don't get me wrong, and the food there also seems amazing, but still surprises me a bit.
He makes our worst states to live in lists. So why in the world is it the 6th most moved to state? Well, considering that 45.4% of people who moved here said they did so for a job, the answer is Huntsville. That's right, the one city in Alabama that doesn't suck is actually a pretty great place to live with a diversified economy and a median household income of 67 grand. Which might be just slightly above the US average of 65 grand, but compared to the statewide median household income of just 51 grand, it's incredible. And considering that many of the states people are moving here from are even more impoverished, like Louisiana or Mississippi, for them, even the rest of Alabama probably doesn't seem that bad. But
okay, so this kind of makes sense. So in the deep south, maybe Alabama is the best place, like the narrator was explaining, and people from Mississippi, Louisiana move there because, okay, maybe not the best place in America, but in the South could be the best place. This is super interesting, my friends.
if you're not from Louisiana or Mississippi, don't be fooled by the cheap cost of living, because it's not worth the years that living here will take off your life. Alabama actually has the second lowest life expectancy at just 74.9 years, which makes sense as it also has the third highest obesity rate and fourth worst healthcare outcomes. So even though 62.1%.
Okay, those are big no's for me, honestly. I have to admit that that's bad. I think healthcare is one of the most important things you can have in a state, right, my friend?
Percent of total moves in the state last year were inbound migration. The overall population growth was just 0.3% due to natural decrease. Number 5, Florida. Considering how many people are moving,
Florida is so beautiful. And when I was a kid, I played games like, I believe, GTA Vice City that represents Miami. And I always thought the map of the game was fascinating. And later I ended up understanding that is actually Miami that is in Florida, right? Look at that. So beautiful. I love Florida. It's probably one of the places I would love to visit the most also.
Moving to Florida, it may very well be the next Texas, because 62.3% of total moves in the state last year were inbound migration, resulting in a population growth of 1.1%, despite it already being the third largest state with nearly 22 million residents. But while most newcomers to Texas moved for the affordable cost of living and booming economies of the cities, people of all ages and walks of life are moving to the Sunshine State for all sorts of reasons. One of which may be that despite the ongoing pandemic, Florida has remained open with life largely unchanged throughout 2021. Now, this could be a pro or con depending on your views, but either way, 27% of newcomers said they moved here for the lifestyle, while 39% said they moved here to retire. And who wouldn't want to live out their best years with year-round warm weather, great multicultural cities, and nearly 1,000 miles of pristine white sand beaches?
Yeah, Florida, to be honest, seems a really, really nice place because you have, if you love the beach, you have amazing beaches, right? If you like sun, I believe the weather is also tremendous. So, yeah, this is a really, really nice place, my friends.
Especially since the majority of new residents are coming from New York, where the cost of living is much higher, the winters are much colder, and the restrictions are much more strict.
Yeah.
Number 4, West Virginia.
Wait, isn't West Virginia the fastest shrinking state? How the heck did it make this list?
Okay, so yeah, West Virginia had been the fastest shrinking state for most of the past decade, but a huge part of that was due to natural decrease. What can I say? West Virginians just aren't having kids, and the increasingly aging population is, well, increasingly aging, while also not living very long with the average life expectancy under 75 years. And sure,
okay, that's actually quite low. I mean, in Portugal, the average life expectancy is like 84 right now. Quite a big difference if you really think about it. I wonder why is that in America. Some people will automatically say because there is no free healthcare, but could be, it's probably is a bit more complex than that if I had to guess. But this is another state that I don't know a lot, my friends. I also want to study this one a bit more.
People had also been fleeing the state due to high poverty and literally no economic opportunity. But that's also made it dirt cheap, with by far the lowest median home values in the nation at just 122 grand. So since the nature here is still as gorgeous as ever, many outdoors lovers who can work remotely have finally started moving in, especially since other mountain states like Colorado, Utah, or New Hampshire have gone
Oh, wow, that was what? Okay, no chance.
in, especially since other mountain states.
Yeah. That we do not have here in Portugal, I can guarantee you. That's beautiful. But one thing that I've been realizing, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think all the 50 states in America, they have incredible natural beauty. Okay, maybe not Delaware. Not sure about Delaware, but I'm saying this because I believe it's crazy small. But I believe all states in general have crazy natural beauty, because I actually enjoy a lot of this type of beauty, mountains, green. But even in places like Arizona, come on, that's also beautiful, even though is different. Do you agree with this, or do you think certain states they don't have natural beauty the way I'm thinking about? Because maybe I'm wrong.
States like Colorado, Utah, or New Hampshire have gotten ridiculously expensive. So while West Virginia was still the 7th fastest shrinking state in 2021 with a net population loss of 0.6%, 63% of statewide moves were actually inbound ones. And I wouldn't be surprised if that trend continues throughout the next decade as more and more people discover the place. In fact, Lonely Planet just ranked West Virginia as its number 2 travel destination in the world for 2022. Number 3, South Carolina. South Carolina is exploding. Well, not literally, but last year it had the 3rd highest percentage of inbound migration at 63.3% of total moves, and it was the 4th fastest growing state overall with a net population gain of 1.4%.
Okay, those stats are quite impressive. By the way, I know this video is a bit old, but I feel like it's still up to date. Of course, the narrator still talks about the lockdown and stuff like that, and of course we are in a different scenario right now. But I'm really enjoying this list. I think is a fascinating one, and a lot of states I would never guess, you know. So
just because a lot of people are moving somewhere, however.
Actually, I believe the number 1 will be Texas, because I know a lot of people are moving there, right?
Does not necessarily make it a great place to live, as the quality of life as a whole here just isn't very good outside of Hilton Head or Charleston, which, to be fair, is a great small city. Both of those places have gotten real.
Let's run this one back from the beginning. So, people are moving there, but it's not a great state to live.
Exploding. Well, not literally, but last year it had the 3rd highest percentage of inbound migration at 63.3% of total moves, and it was the 4th fastest growing state overall with a net population gain of 1.4%. Just because a lot of people are moving somewhere, however, does not necessarily make it a great place to live, as the quality of life as a whole here just isn't very good outside of Hilton Head or Charleston, which, to be fair, is a great small city. Both of those places have gotten really expensive though, and while the Greenville and Columbia areas are also decent enough, there's a huge division of wealth between the cities, which are open to change, and the rural parts of the state, which are severely impoverished. As such, South Carolina's actually among the bottom 10 states in most categories that matter, including having the 9th highest poverty rate, 7th worst schools, and 5th highest crime rate. But if you don't need a job...
Okay. Well, I mean, I don't know a lot about South Carolina. Looks so beautiful on this video, but yeah.
Can't afford Florida, and are just looking to join the 36.6% of newcomers who moved here to retire. Myrtle Beach is one of the most affordable beach towns in the country.
Ah, okay, so could be a good place if you want to retire, right? Okay, and that makes a bit more sense.
Number 2, South Dakota. If you've never been to South Dakota, you're probably wondering why so many people are moving to a seemingly uneventful state in the middle of nowhere. With 68.6% of total moves here.
Oh, so this was, at the beginning, was from South Dakota. Oh, this is so beautiful. Ooh, I love South Dakota. I love South Dakota.
Being inbound migration. But if you have ever visited the home of the Black Hills and Badlands, you can probably see why. Sure, it's rarely talked about, but objectively, the Mount Rushmore state is a great place to live. Sioux Falls is one of the best small cities with great affordability and a booming economy. So it makes sense that 32.6% of newcomers moved here for a job. And considering that the state is the 5th least densely populated with so much breathtaking nature, in addition to also being pretty darn cheap with no state income tax and a median home value of just $264,000, it's no surprise that 46% of new residents said their primary reason for moving here was for the lifestyle, to retire, or for a lower cost of living.
And the natural beauty. Oh man, so far this may be the best place. Oh, I would love to move to South Dakota. Looks tremendous. Look, again, all states are beautiful, but this one in particular, I'm really, really liking. Oh, did you guys saw that? I'm sorry, well, I mean, yeah. Oh, that was so beautiful.
During that the state is the 5th least densely populated with so much breathtaking nature, in addition to also being pretty darn cheap with no state income tax and a median home value of just $264,000, it's no surprise that 46% of new residents said their primary reason for moving here was for the lifestyle, to retire, or for a lower cost of living. Now, before we get to number 1, make sure you leave a like and subscribe and comment which state you would want to move to the most, even if it's not
Okay, number 1 for sure is Texas, right?
on this list. But without further ado, number 1, Vermont. Despite Vermonters' best
What? I really thought was Texas. I remember so many celebrities talking about Texas. Okay, Vermont is beautiful, don't get me wrong, and I'm happy that Vermont is number 1, but okay, well, I guess I lack knowledge. I really thought it was Texas.
efforts to keep it a secret, the Green Mountain State has been the
Come on, this looks tremendous. I mean, Vermont, fair play.
most moved to state for 5 years running, with an astounding 74.3% of total moves in 2021 being inbound migration. But what can I say? Once people move here and experience the incredibly high quality of life, they don't leave. And I don't blame them. The scenery is immaculate, there are so many wonderful small towns, and Burlington has an incredible economy. But if you watched my top 10 reasons why everyone is moving to Vermont video,
Oh man, Vermont looks amazing. I love all the green.
you already knew that. And if you haven't watched it, then go watch it, because who knows, maybe you're gonna want to join all the newcomers who will likely yet again make Vermont the most moved to state of 2020.
Okay, great video. I really did not... I mean, I think Vermont is beautiful, but I was so convinced that would be Texas. But yeah, I mean, great stuff, my friends. And that's it for today, my friends. Hope you end up enjoying this video. If that's the case, do not forget to leave a like. Also consider to subscribe if you are new to my channel. And also let me remember you about one thing. I have a Patreon community. I put videos there a bit earlier than I put on YouTube. So if you want to support me and have access to early content, go to my Patreon. I will leave a link on my description. Take a look at that. You can also scan the QR code you'll be seeing here, and that's it.